On the House Reviews and Podcasts, the place where we take a look at movies, video games, or TV shows, because hey, whatever we want to talk about is on the house. Joining me this week, as always, is Dave.
Hey, everyone.
Kiki.
Hola.
And Lynette.
Hello.
And folks, I'm really excited for this week's pick. It's Lynette's pick. It's the Happiness Hotel. Oh, there's no fire in the fireplace.
There's no carpet on the floor.
Don't try to order dinner. There's no kitchen anymore.
But if the road's been kinda bumpy,
and you need to rest a spell.
So welcome home to the Happiness Hotel.
No. That's not right at all. It's
Wait.
the Hazbin Hotel.
I thought it was the Happiness Hotel.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well.
This is a dark show about hell. This isn't happy at all.
Well, I guess we all watched the wrong thing then, didn't we?
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Man.
Well, better take a break for editing and go watch the actual show. So thanks, folks, for joining us on today's podcast, and we'll see you next time. I'm just kidding. All right, Lynette, it's your pick. Let's introduce this one.
All right, so this time we're talking about Hazbin Hotel. It's not got a full show yet. It's just the first episode, and I believe I'm the only one who's seen this prior to this. I've seen it several times, but
I had seen this once before, and
Oh, you did see it once before. Okay, so not everybody here is a newbie.
Mhm.
But I'd like to know everybody's thoughts. How'd you guys like it?
it's a very interesting concept. Like, the characters are definitely the high point, and the animation is just so unique.
I definitely would say, if you remember the Grim Adventures, it's kind of takes that whole dark hell element,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
the comedy of that show, but cranks it up to 11 in all aspects. It's definitely not something for little kids. But like most great comedies, it's the characters and their interactions with each other that work off each other. And as a fan of slapstick, there's some good slapstick in this.
I really liked it. Definitely the characters are for sure the high point. And for some reason, I can't explain why, I kept thinking My Little Pony, like if it was TVMA.
Oh my word, you're right. Because some of the character designs, they have a sort of similar artistic style. That does make sense.
Yeah, and just like how like spunky the main girl is, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely has a sort of Pinkie Pie vibe to her.
Yes, I couldn't think of her name. Thank you.
And for all the bronies joining us right now, welcome.
Our view counts will shoot through the roof.
Yes.
No, the main character definitely has a intentional Disney princess bubblegummy personality to her, you know?
Yeah, well, I
Mhm.
mean, she is the princess of hell, but princess nonetheless.
So,
Sorry, I
Lynette,
blanked.
why don't you tell us a little bit of backstory on this, like how you came across it and what exactly it is?
Well, I sort of came across it. Well, actually, the first place I think I heard about it was on YouTube and Pinterest, where there was some fan art being made, and I sort of just noticed that it being in the tags is Hazbin Hotel. Didn't really know what it was. Looked like it might be some kind of a funny show. And then several months later, a buddy of mine who I watched anime with rather, suggested watching it. And I was like, oh yeah, I think I heard of that. And it turns out there's a pretty big following, a huge fandom behind what is essentially one episode, a pilot episode of a show that doesn't have a studio yet.
Definitely. I think the view count for this was in the millions.
Yeah, like I think it was
32.
in 30 millions at the last time I checked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I watched
got
it last
it's got
night.
a pretty big following, and there's a lot of fan content being created, and it's really actually pretty impressive. Just the quality of the animation is not something you'd expect just from what is basically a Kickstarter project. I mean, just a bunch of, small-time amateur people working together to create a passion project. And it's really pretty amazing, all the level of detail. You can watch it several times over, and I have watched it several times over, and still notice new things.
Yeah, I watched it twice, and I definitely picked up on things just in those 2 viewings. The second viewing that I wouldn't have picked up on otherwise.
I mean, there's a
lot of love into it.
Rapid fire gags with the animation that you'll probably have to watch this in slow motion at some point.
Yeah, I thought the animation was really good. I didn't look at the voice actors, but I swear when Sir Pent first came in, he sounded like Zim.
Mm-hmm. That's another one that kind of reminds me of animation style-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely has the sort of animation style that, like you said about the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Invader Zim, definitely. Also, Powerpuff Girls, I want to say, especially when it comes to like the villains, because when you see like all the different monsters in the Powerpuff Girls, and then you see all the different demons in the background, it's like, yeah, that's the same sort of vibe, just a lot less kid-friendly.
Oh, yeah. It was not what I was expecting at all, because I've seen it, like, things about it on Twitter, but I've never watched previews or read into it. I just knew I wanted to see it based on the fan art and how much people loved it. So when it first started up, I was like, what is this even?
Well, I could definitely see Adult Swim picking this up, though. Or something similar, a late night block for adult animation.
IFC even.
So, like, are we thinking that if it does get picked up, it would be, like, go to TV and not just be an internet thing?
Well, it could go to Netflix or something as well. I mean, it's not like it used to be where you only have 5 networks possibly trying to pick you up. I can see someone taking a stab at it. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a risk just because it's not a proven commodity. But I feel like with the following, someone somewhere is going to bite.
Though I think,
I'm pretty sure a studio will pick it up, but from what I've heard, the creator said that if nobody picks it up, then they're going to crowdfund it, which honestly, given how big the fandom is, I think there's no doubt it would get funded immediately.
Yeah. Though whatever path it takes, it likely will be at least a year before there's more official material, though.
Oh yeah, animation takes a long time.
I'd be shocked if Adult Swim didn't pick it up, because some of the shit that they have is just dumb, and this is really good. So I would hope that they would take this on.
So what are you guys' favorite gags and favorite characters?
Radio Demon. Like, I'm staking claim to this one. I want this person narrating my life. I love con artist characters, especially in animation, when it's a kind of a squash and stretch style like this show has. Just the fluid way that he's able to move about, this tickles my funny bone, and he kind of reminds me as a obviously way more demonic and evil version of Grumple Stan from Gravity Falls, just that trying always one step ahead and trying to get some kind of deal made.
Yeah, he's definitely a really great character. And like what you said about his fluid motion, like I can't help but watch like his hair move. Like it's just the level of detail in the animation is really impressive.
For me, like, I would say Radio Demon was the funnest, but I kind of like Maggie the most.
Oh yeah, she's so sassy too.
Just because I can sympathize more with the ones who are kind of being cynical about things.
I like that she plays the straight man to Charlie's sort of Cloud Cuckoo Lander happy-go-lucky character. I think that dynamic works really well for them.
Yeah, sorry.
And even though he was only there for a brief moment, and I don't know this, I don't remember the character's name. I apologize for that, but the guy who the Radio Demon brings in, who's kind of a biker archetype, it's like has the one line.
The poker guy.
Yeah,
Husker?
Yeah, that's him. But he has that one line of,
"What? You think you can buy me with a wink and some cheap booze? Well, you can."
My favorite line from him is like, "You think I'm some kind of clown?" And he's like, maybe.
Yeah, I have to agree with Clancy. My favorite is Radio Demon, but my second favorite would be Angel Dust. And
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's pretty
my
great.
favorite part in that, I told you guys last night, but it's when he gets hit into the ground with the chains by a serpent, and he's like,
Oh, harder, Daddy. Son?
and it just totally diffuses his remark. He's just like, oh my god. I almost woke up my son laughing.
Angel Dust is funny, but I do worry, like, he seems like somebody who, in a full series, they could probably, like, start to become unfunny by overexposure.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's a very loud character, and I don't mean that in the literal sense.
No.
But you mentioned Serpentious. Actually, that's my favorite character in the show. I really like that he's like got that old school villainy type of deal going on, where he's like,
You whores have no class. In war, the side remembered is the side with the most style.
Or the side that ain't dead.
and it's just such a strange, almost like 1800s villain. I want to say, like twirling mustache kind of villain, and I really like that. And I also really like that there's this one sort of line that's almost a throwaway line towards the end where he's like, I'm so evil, and it's like he's trying so hard to be this evil character, and it's just too hilarious that he goes over the top with it. I love over the top villains,
and I love what they did with the animation on him with his kind of like a King Cobra head thing, you know, how he's kind of got that look to him.
I love his egg minions, how they're just like so sincere and almost sweet and just happy to be around.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're complete doofuses who can't do anything. I don't know why he keeps them around.
It's like Gru and his minions.
I love the sort of running gag with the one where he's like, now will you shoot me with your ray gun?
He's a simp.
Oh my word, yes he is!
Yes. There was another line in that fight scene that I really liked with Serpent and oh man, sorry. There's another part I liked between Serpent and Angel Dust, where it was regarding his looks, and Angel Dust is like, so would that mean that your hat is the top and you're the bottom then?
Yeah, and even his own egg oohs at him. He's like, ooh.
Yeah.
He bonks him on the head.
It was, oh man, there were so many great one-liners in it.
Mm-hmm.
Very quotable.
Yes, especially from Alistair. That is the Radio Demon.
I want to marry Radio Demon.
But I especially loved, I think one of my favorite gags, aside from the whole, like, you think I'm a clown, maybe line, that was one of my favorites. But also another one of my favorites is when he goes up to Angel Dust, and what can you do, my effeminate fellow? I can suck your dick. Ha! No.
One of my favorite lines was, like, when Charlie and Vaggie pick Angel Dust up, and they're like, you made us into a joke. And he's like, no, jokes are funny. This is just sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't even have like anything to say about that because it's true.
It's kind of like also a Radio Demon line where they're trying to figure out why he wants to work with them. Why does anyone do anything? Sheer absolute boredom.
Yep.
Counting flowers on the wall. It doesn't bother me at all. The thing is, for me, like, I didn't have any issues with this, but there are some things I could see as potential liabilities down the road.
Ooh, like what?
Well, like, first, there's like what I said about Angel Dust, and might be like the controversial thing I'll say, but like fundamentally, the concept of the series is supposed to be about redemption, and that you could so easily go sour.
Oh yeah, see, and that's the thing too, is I was very it's very intriguing as a concept, like the sort of philosophical implications of redeeming people from hell or in hell.
I
And
mean,
I mean I'm hoping that they don't go too into detail, because I feel like if they do, then they might sort of do the same thing that they did with Supernatural, where they get like a little bit too close to the picture to get really
like I'm not
appreciate.
even like bringing up the hell aspect. Just if there's one trend of 2010s media, I think got way overdone. It was a downright obsession with redeeming everyone, and especially people who flat out do not deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, we've talked about this before, but Avatar was really what started that off without people realizing Avatar. It took 3 seasons to redeem him. They took
Yeah.
their time on that stuff. And a lot of them, it's just like, oh, you're a terrible person. 3 episodes later. Oh, you're a good guy now.
And I mean, like, let's not forget, like the last regular season finale of Steven Universe basically forgive genocidal dictators.
Hmm.
Like,
Oh, I heard about that. I've never seen Steven Universe, but I heard about that.
So good.
it's why, like, truthfully, like, if I had been the one writing this, I would have had it like the series end with like the radio demon being proven right.
Well, see, the thing is there's a difference though, because there's a difference between what the radio demon thinks. He thinks that like there's absolutely just no hope. And that's a different line of thinking, which is to say that like there is hope, you just don't deserve it. And it's like so I mean, and either one of them could be right. So we'll see how that plays out.
I mean, there is a lot of like put a pin on this. We'll need to see how it goes to when I describe my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I
of
mean,
course, yeah.
shows like this we can't fully pass judgment on until at least there's a season worth of material, you know, but for just
Like-
the pilot episode.
I enjoy this, but there are many ways I could see this going wrong.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will say I did watch the pilot episode show Hell of a Boss, and not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of that one.
I haven't
Yeah,
watched
I
any others.
remember I watched it once. I remember it being kind of funny, but ultimately just didn't have the same it didn't have as quite as good of a vibe. It was like it was more it was okay. You compared Hazbin to Hotel to Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, right? I would say that Hell of a Boss was a little bit closer to the Billy and Mandy type of humor than Hazbin Hotel, and it was just kind of awkward. I think
And
most of that due to the fact that they go up to like the upper world, and it's like functionally there's no difference.
Mhm.
Like,
And it's also like the characters aren't near as well defined in that, but
oh,
that,
that's true too. Yeah.
but we're talking about the Hazbin Hotel.
So, like, where's some directions you'll think the story might go in a full series?
I mean,
I feel
think-
like
oh, go ahead.
I feel like Alistair, and I think this was hinted at by the creator, but I feel like Alistair, the radio demon, is going to be sort of the constant. Is going to be more of an antagonist than a protagonist.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't expect anything else from his character, but I mean, like, not to say that he'll purposefully undercut any of the residents at the hotel, but somehow he'll figure out some way to be an antagonist and to stoke the fire a little bit.
He's kind of like, I would describe him as like a Loki, like traditional, how you would think a Loki type character, a trickster god who's more so doing things for his own entertainment more so than anything else. But
So he's a
sorry, go ahead.
so he's a low key Loki.
Yes. But he's definitely got a bigger thing planned. Like he tries to get them to get the main character to sign that contract. Which, given what they said about his backstory, I could totally see him trying to use this to gain an upper hand and take over hell, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is the princess of hell, so maybe he figures there's also some sort of card to be played there, even though she apparently doesn't have a great relationship with her father.
Or mother, for that
And
reason.
now she's a laughing stock.
Yeah. I'm not
I have
sure
to
being
agree
a
with.
laughing stock in hell really means all that much, though, if everybody there is, not really a great person in the first place.
Touche.
Probably it's like honestly the fact that the news cycle, I mean, well, not that the news cycle in the real world is all that much different, but the fact that the news cycle is so heavily dependent on stuff like murder and turf wars and stuff, it probably means that like 5 minutes later nobody will even remember what happened on the news, and like there's always some new violent thing happening in hell.
What a juicy coincidence! You must feel really stupid right now. Ratings!
So exactly like real life.
What? Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, at least from what we can gather here in Hazbin Hotel, Satan didn't encourage people to drink bleach.
Oh no!
Well done.
And, like, one thing I think they'll expand upon, like in a regular season, because as much as it's about hell, like it didn't make it seem like the angels were good, considering they're just wiping out souls completely on a routine basis.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, the angels did look particularly threatening when you in like the opening scene when she's singing that song and you see like that image of like the angels, and they look very creepy
Mhm.
and like an imposing presence.
Yeah, I think the whole show is just going to be macabre.
Definitely.
And
Like,
I
they
hope it actually, like, I honestly hope it's a musical. Like, they already have some good songs in this, and
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope it stays with the musical um trope, because I really liked that.
I
I
did
will
have an
say
issue.
this. Go ahead.
I did have an issue with the song during the newscast because I sometimes like the music, like the instruments were overpowering what she was saying, so I couldn't quite hear everything.
Oh yeah, some of those, yeah, and she sings really fast too, and it's and towards the end of the song she sings in such a high pitch you can't really understand what she's saying at all.
I liked what I could hear, but yeah, exactly. Like it was very like mishmash in volume.
Which I will say, once they get like funding and whatnot, they'll have more time to kind of clean that up. I will say one knock I do have on it is on first viewing, I feel like almost they introduced too many characters real quickly, because it's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like Gilligan's Island. There's this guy and this guy and this guy, and the rest.
Yeah, yeah. It is a lot of characters to take in all at once, but I feel like even though it is, I feel like that lends it more to repeat viewings than it does turn off initial viewers, though, because the characters that are distinct are really distinct. Like particularly Angel Dust, the Radio Demon, Serpentious, Charlie, and Baggy. Those are all such distinct characters that, like, yeah, it is a lot of characters to keep track of, but the ones that are the important ones really stand out.
Mm-hmm.
I know I
And
had to Google for them.
I will say, there's two ways really to approach pilot episodes. You either introduce everyone at once and then use the season to flesh them out, kind of the Firefly method, or you take like a Parks and Rec office where here's your key characters, and slowly the background characters get more and more fleshed out throughout the show. So both methods have their roles in film and television. It's just when you only get one episode, it's harder to say for sure or how you're going to feel about certain characters, you know?
Yeah. But the fact that that it's more the kind of thing that's more appreciated on repeated viewings. I feel like it lends it to more of a Netflix style watching to rather than like some sort of like a network on TV where you would see it one episode each week or something. Like it would, I think it would be better for a streaming service.
Yeah.
So, like, how many seasons do you think a full run of this could get?
With the
I
way-
have no idea.
Well, I'll say this: if it does get picked up, Hot Topic is gonna love it.
Oh my word!
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
But I could definitely see it like going for 3 seasons or so. Any more than that, it kind of just depends how it plays out. I mean, I hate when television shows overstay their welcome. Cough, cough. How I Met Your Mother. Cough, cough.
I mean, there is a question I'm wondering is, do you think it'll be like an episodic slice of life show and it's full, or will there be a clear overarching plot from episode to episode?
I don't think it'll be full DuckTales where there's a clear ongoing story, but maybe more like a step down from that where clearly there's an ongoing plot, but more episodes will be kind of slice of life thing with the ongoing plot in the background.
I mean, it's like,
They
I remember
might-
back in the day, like being, if we're going to use a Cartoon Network comparison, when Codename Kids Next Door, like when they had like season-long plots, but they only took up like maybe 3 or 4 stories in
Yeah,
a given
sure.
season.
I think they could
feel
get away
like
with
they
having.
might- Or sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I feel like they might do the anime style because you said they introduced so many new characters, right? I feel like they might sort of do an anime style introduction where it's like, yeah, you see all these characters in the beginning, and then for the next 5 episodes, we'll flesh out the most important ones, and
Mhm.
then we'll get into the overarching story.
True.
So,
I think they could even get away with pulling off like not exactly, obviously, but similar to Happy Tree Friends kind of storyline. Have you guys seen that?
no.
I have not, I'm afraid.
I mean, we can cover that another time then. But that was they all had one theme, and that was just death. But I can't really explain it too well. Like, we'll just have to cross that bridge.
Sounds good. Well, Lynette, you have anything else on this one?
I don't think so.
What about Dave?
I wonder, like, if in a full run, if they might end up like replacing the cast with some established voice actors, but I hope they don't.
I hope they don't. The people they got were pretty good.
I mean, some of the voice actors are like famous on like, internet circles. Like Serpent
Point taken.
is he's done by shoot, I forgot the guy's name because like in my experience I don't know him, but I know that he's sort of famous in like video game or internet circles for doing voice acting on other stuff. So some of the people that they got were kind of famous, but just not in like the traditional sort of, oh yeah, I've seen them on TV sort of sense.
Which, to be fair, that's pretty common for voice actors, where very few people actually recognize some of the names,
I mean, it kind of blew my mind when, after years of watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I would hear Master Shake's voice actor like on regular Cartoon Network shows.
Yeah.
Or like when Mark Hamill's doing something and he accidentally slips into the Joker a little bit. Well, you guys ready for final thoughts?
Yeah.
All right, Kiki, why don't you go first?
So like, I shouldn't start that way. Yeah, back to that I had only heard about it through Twitter initially, from all the fan art and discussions, and then finally watching it, even though I've been wanting to, it was nothing like I was expecting, and I think it's gonna have some great stuff come from it, regardless if it gets picked up from a network or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well done.
Dave, why don't you go next?
Well, it's a very promising start. Like, there are some things I'm worried about, but that's all dependent on the direction the final show will take. And I will say this is a show that its successes will be because of just how great the characters are.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna piggyback off you a little bit. I definitely think it's a show where the characters are gonna be what makes it or break this show. If they're able to keep even a third of the level of consistently funny jokes and writing going, I think this is gonna be a very entertaining show that I'll tune into regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the designs, the animation, I think are really beautiful. I think my favorite part about the whole thing is the gags. I loved all the gags, just rapid fire. Like, it keeps me laughing every time. And I love the characterization. I think they did a great job on the characters. They're very memorable and very fun. And that's the whole thing about this show, is that it's just really fun in a sort of doofy kind of way that's maybe a little bit dark. And the series, it definitely has a potential for some pitfalls, as far as, like, oh, the idea of redeeming sinners in hell, who are very clearly very horrible people. Well, we'll see how that goes, but I think overall, as long as the show is fun, even if it does end up having some questionable choices as far as the plot line, I think as long as the show stays fun and full of gags, then it'll be a great time.
Well, folks, that wraps up our podcast on this. But before we go, Kiki wants to give a little bit of tease to next week's episode.
Next week, we're going to be trying to find Nemo.
And folks, just once again, we want to thank you for checking out our podcast. As a reminder, we're on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and we're also on the social media and YouTube. And we're also on the social medias of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you want to check us out and give us a like, subscribe, and comment, we'd greatly appreciate it. Helps our show. And lastly, one final thought I want to say is, if you thought you'd go to heaven, well, son, you're out of luck.
Because the turf wars ain't too
And
organized.
the elevator stuck.
If you like bloodthirsty demons and guys that really smell,
Well,
welcome
welcome
home to the
Hazbin
Hazbin Hotel.
You are all weirdos. Ugh.
Hi folks, Clancy here. Just want to hop on real quick before you guys click off and just say a little message that I like ending these videos with every single time, and that's just a message on mental health, and that if you're out there struggling, which there's so many reasons why you would be right now, to not give up the fight, to push on for one more day, because I promise you, it may take a while, but it will eventually get better. I've been at the point where I've wanted to completely give up in my life, but I kept struggling and kept fighting. Even sometimes I didn't want to. I had to spend some time in the hospital just to get me in the right state of mind before I could even go to my own house and sleep without being a threat to myself. And my wish, if I could grant it to the entire world, is that nobody else has to suffer like that. It's not a fate I'd wish on my worst enemy. But if you are in the position where you struggle with this, just remember, it's not your fault. Our brain chemicals do things that we can't control sometimes. But if you ever do need the help, the suicide prevention number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. You're not alone in this battle. 1 in 4 adults suffer from mental health. It's time we end the stigma and raise awareness.